Hello, in this video I want to show you just how quickly you can get started extracting BW data into Tableau using the DVW Analytics connector for SAP. So let's start in the XCS console where we configure our connections. If we look in the Parameters tab, then you can see the systems that we've got configured, and that's very similar to the SAP logon pad. If we go to the configuration, then you can see the connections that I've already configured to other queries and tables. But let's create a new one from scratch by clicking on the Create button here. In the configuration window, we can choose between an SAP table or a BW object. We give the connection a unique name, and then we choose which system it is that we want to connect to. In this case, it's a BW system. You can see it's retained my credentials, and I can check that we can ping that system and the connection is available. I now switch to the Parameters tab where I'm going to select the BW object that I want to extract data from. So if we look here, we can see in my history that we have InfoProviders and queries and query views that I've used recently in the BW system. But if I use the search object, I can look at all the data providers that are available to me within my role in BW. I can put a search string in here, so let's put order and search, and you can see now that in the queries, here's the query that I want to use. And so I select the query and click OK, and the metadata for that query comes across into the configuration window. We can see here the key figures and the characteristics that are related to that query. Some are selected already. This is the initial view, but we can select whichever ones we want for our output. And we can also, if we like, add a filter by right-clicking on any of the characteristics and adding a blank filter. Although, if we look in the Filters and Variables tab, there are already variables there that are defined within the query that can also be used, and we see that this one marked in orange is mandatory, so we need to fill a value into here. When we edit, we see the values that are possible. They're coming from the BW system, and we can select a single value, or maybe we want to do a range, so we can go from a low value to a higher value using the between operator, and we select OK, and that filter is transferred across, and you can now see that it's turned that row to green, so we're good to go. If I execute, then a sample of data comes back, and you can see that our query is working well. So we save that configuration, and once that's done, we can close this window, returning back to the master list of our configurations, and then right-click on the folder to get a copy of our OData URL, which we can then use in Tableau. And as we move over to Tableau, we can establish a data connection to that OData service. So we add our connection in. This is what we copied from across on the XCS console. Add our username and password just to give us access to the data. And then sign in, and we see on the left here all the connections that we've created. And I can bring in one or many data sources and join them. And you can already see that the metadata for my first is available. If we go and analyze this now, we can see the characteristics and measures that are available for us to use. And we can quickly build a standard analysis in Tableau as normal. Alternatively, we can see all the data by looking at the data view. And here you see everything that's been brought across from SAP BW. And so within a couple of minutes, we've got data from SAP BW directly into Tableau. I hope this video was interesting, and if you'd like to see more, please visit our website. That's dvwanalytics.com.